Hello, my name is Alex Williamson, and I'll be presenting the technological life of Mr. Williamson. I wanted to start off with talking about some technology and some assistive technology that I'm familiar with and that I've used in the past. Some include Nearpod, which is an interactive presentation tool. Also there's Kahoot, which is an assessment tool and is mainly used for the competitive nature and how quick it is used for warm-ups and such. Also, I've used smart boards in the past, which are very helpful when you want to use technology when you're writing on a chalkboard essentially. But you have way more that you can use with smart boards. Also, I've used Edmodo, which is sort of like a student-teacher social media, and it's really helpful if you're posting stuff for a class, or you can even sort of use it as like a blog. Also, Remind 101 is a good tool just to send out messages to the students. You can also send out weekly newsletters to parents. Screen readers is something that I've become familiar with in the past year working in the CFEI office because students with disabilities, specifically with their visual, they typically use screen readers to that read code out, and so they would be able to fully grasp what's on a screen, which I think is fantastic. Also, it goes with making our classes more accessible to all students. Another accessibility tool is the Vigo, which is sort of like a stand-in student that uses think of it sort of like a Segway that has a tablet attached to it that is Skyping the student that is at home and that cannot come to the school. So this is just another way for a student to participate and be in school even if they're not physically able to. And so these are just some of the technology and some of the assistive tech that I've used in the past. So to start talking about my content area, I wanted to first of all say that reading is a personal passion of mine. It is always fun to get into the story world and to just try to grasp exactly what an author is trying to say and especially how the characters are developed, and it's just amazing. Also, a reason why I got into English is because of my 12th grade senior English teacher, Miss Castle. She's a very big inspiration on me. She pushed a lot of teaching ideas that I thought were fantastic, and she made me want to read more of the classics. And that's specifically what I wanted to do in college, is to read a lot of the classic literature and just get familiar with that whole kind of glorified style of writing, just because I think it's really interesting. Language, from what I've learned in college, is completely essential. I mean, English is just another branch of that, of course, but language is how we think, it's how we communicate, and without language we would not be able to function as human beings. There are many theories for studying literature that I have learned also in college, and those I think are really interesting. You have things like new criticism, feminist criticism, reader response, and just all kinds of different theories, and I think that's just fascinating. Also, English is a guide to many possibilities in life. I eventually want to take my English career and teach in different countries like Japan, Norway, Germany, Dubai, just all kinds of countries, and kind of see the world, because since English is so prominent around the world, it is fantastic to study, and it just goes along with my passion. So just a few things about me is I personally love comic books. I've worked at a comic book store for about 2 years now, and I just think it's fantastic. I included one of the pictures in this is Guardians of the Galaxy, my favorite series. Also Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. It's a graphic novel, but it still works. Same kind of fashion. Also, I've been skateboarding since I was 6th, 7th grade, and it's always super fun to me. It's relaxing, and of course we see a lot of skateboarders around the campus, and it's super fun. Also, I enjoy watching movies and TV. I know it's kind of cliche to say, but specifically, I like watching like The Flash and like movies like Toy Story and stuff like that, all the Disney stuff, because it's fun. Really, it's just nostalgic to me, and it's just interesting to see what the popular movies are and kind of critiquing them. I always like that. Also, I enjoy playing video games. My favorite video game right now is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Fantastic visuals, and it's just really amazing. Also, of course, I mean, since I'm an English major, I like to read. My favorite book series is I Am Number 4, which, looking back on it now, they're fantastic books. The first couple are, and then it just kind of delves, but I can't seem to break myself from it. I think it's just a good read. It's fantastic. Now, moving on to my philosophy on technology in the classroom, I think that is extremely important to implement technology in the classroom. It's going to be the new era of teaching. I think especially with social media, it is just great to connect ideas and really get yourself out there, especially as an educator, and just try to get with the ideas that other people are bringing to the table, put your own out there. It's just, we have such a wealth of knowledge and just abundance of resources out there, and you'd be a fool not to use them. And specifically Google. I mean, Google's fantastic. You often hear the phrase nowadays, just Google it, and I think I'm a big supporter of that, just because it is probably the easiest way to get information nowadays, and it also just, you have just that abundance of knowledge. And like I said, social media is a good platform to just build yourself up on, especially as an educator, and also just as a school. It can bring a lot of school spirit, as I'm going to get to later on. Touching on that a little further, technology as an educator is extremely important, because I like to think that knowledge is growth. And so, of course, technology is the way to go, because it, again, is the abundance of knowledge. And it's not going to be going away anytime soon. It is always going to be there. It's going to be advancing further and further, and it's just important that we as educators take that up. Also, students are always going to be up to date with the new tech, and we need to be just as up to date, just to try to keep up. And also, it makes it a little more relatable for you as the teacher to know the tech that the student is using. Also, technology just makes it super fun in the class. You can have interactive smart boards that you can just use in so many different ways. You also have more student interaction, and it's just, you tend to have a lot more participation if there's technology. Also, it just creates connections that are unique and individual, because, like, say you're teaching a lesson and you task your students to draw on their tablet, their school-issued tablet. And so they draw a picture or something like that, and they can share it to you, and you have this artifact that shows exactly what they did and what they learned, and you can always ask them about it, and it's just so interactive that I just think technology is just so key to education these days. Now, one of my favorite theories when it comes to teaching, and I just learned it this year, but I wanted to adopt it because it's just fantastic, is the idea of the growth mindset. And the growth mindset mainly focuses on if a student should know that their potential is limitless, and as long as they have the motivation and want to put forth the effort, they can learn anything. And specifically, I believe that students should focus on mastery of a skill or of a goal, because that is the surefire way to propel yourself into the next stage. And I just think if every student had a goal of mastery, then we could learn just limitless things. Also, it's a very optimistic outlook on teaching, and it's good to be optimistic, especially us going into our first year of teaching. I think it's a good idea. Also, the growth mindset teaches you to learn from your mistakes, which, I mean, should be common knowledge by now, but Learning from your mistakes will really put you a step above, especially people that are more pessimistic on their work ethic and stuff like that. So definitely learning from your mistakes will show that you have the initiative, and it'll show that your students know that you have that initiative and you can motivate them, and it's just overall it's just a good connection and a good mindset to have in your classroom. So some different teaching methods that I plan on using in the future is primarily discussion-based and student-driven teaching. This is essentially just when you provide a topic to the students and they discuss, and this also helps, like specifically in English, I can give them a text and they can analyze the text and discuss about it, which is very good for analysis and very good for other skills that they're going to need in future English courses. And this is student-driven, which essentially just means that the students would be providing and kind of finding their own way to get to an answer, or finding their own way to use their skills to get to a solution. Again, I would use a lot of textual-based. I mean, of course, it's an English class. So this just means giving a variety of text, which I would obviously implement a bunch of different mediums, such as classic literature, kind of modern fiction, also using things like film, comic books, and just other different mediums that a student that would be fresh to a student, and also would allow them to analyze different types of text. Lecture-based I tend not to do, or I do not want to do very often, because lecture-based is very, while it's old school and it does work, I find it to be less interactive. Maybe if I use something like Nearpod, or just find different ways to make lecture more interactive, I would use it more. Also, I would use group-based, which essentially is just like using, like, students get in groups and try to come up with a solution to a problem, or discuss and then discuss with the class. Again, the group-based kind of falls into like discussion-based and student-driven, and so these are just a couple of teaching methods that I would like to use in the future. So technology has a unique influence on culture. Specifically, technology in schools tend to increase school spirit, specifically when a school uses a social media account or multiple social media accounts to kind of bolster their student following and bolster their own like ideology. Also, this helps create a community of learners, and also helps just connect with all the individual students in that particular school. Embracing tech in itself just allows more for the school. The school would have a lot more success if they get more on board with technology, and they're allowed, or they can give students more resources, give their teachers more resources. Overall, it's just sort of a win-win situation for everyone involved. Again, moving on to this, technology helps innovate. It can change the classroom drastically. It can make students even more motivated to learn, because especially if they're like impoverished and they don't really have the technology at their fingertips, the schools can allow that, and they can personally help bring that to the foreground. So how does technology help the student? Well, with technology, questions that a student might have are instantly answered. And like a student can just Google something that they're curious about, and there would go the answer. It also makes students more accountable, because they have just a wealth of resources and a wealth of knowledge at their fingertips. It allows them to be more investigative, and also allows more freedom to like research and to explore. It also gives students a want to like interact, and also a medium to interact, because say if I was teaching a lecture on Dante's Inferno, they would be able to draw on their iPad what they believe the 9 circles of hell are. And that would just give that's just to give an example of a lesson. Also, it gives students much needed fun in the classroom. It allows them to be more creative, and it also just allows them to have their own sort of personality, because tech you can modify, and you can kind of make it your own. And also, just implementing technology in itself is very relatable to the students, because it kind of shows that we as teachers are moving to innovate, and we as a system of education are meaning to innovate, and we want to get with the times, because it is just useful, and it helps create a connection between the teacher and the student, and even just the student and the school. So I personally tend to use technology day by day by just some simple things that I wanted to implement, and of course some big technological steps for like certain projects. But number one, I want to always use Kahoots for warm-ups until System Better comes out, specifically because these warm-ups kind of you can go back on them, and they're good reviews. They also give a little competition for the students that will always want to be first, me included. Also, I believe agendas are very important. Specifically, I can send out newsletters to the parents and to the students, so they know exactly what's going on for that week, and they know what their child has been learning and everything like that. And I just think it's a good way to connect with parents, and also to just let their students know what exactly is going on. Also, I believe implementing like weekly blog posts, especially since I'm going to be an English teacher, I think blog posts is a really good way to do writing practice, and students can post on like a class blog, and they can just have their own little like reflections or their own little writing tasks that I could assign, and it would just be good practice for them in the future. Also, I don't really believe in standardized testing, and I believe that we should move towards a portfolio system, especially since, I mean, again, English major really focuses on the writing and what the student is really getting out of the writing, and also how they're improving. So I think a portfolio is the best way to go about that. Also, technology can really be used to moderate discussions really well. I have used like Nearpod in the past to have a PowerPoint that would show specific topics, but would allocate specific amounts of time for side A to talk, and also implement some time for side B to talk, and then just have a healthy conversation. Also, I believe in using visual narratives a lot. Of course, this kind of goes with my ideas that comics in itself is a visual narrative, and I think students can actually learn a lot through different types of, or different mediums of literature, such as like speeches, film even, and comics. So I think using different visual narratives and different types of mediums of literature could also utilize technology really well. These are some of the references that I came up with when researching this topic, and thank you for listening.